Basically, yeah. Yeah, yes, there is that. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We are now recording. Hopefully everyone can hear us on Zoom. This will be uploaded onto YouTube in a couple of days. So for those who are watching and would like to see themselves back again, we'll be able to look at it on YouTube. Thank you to Inspector David Derrick. Thank you so much for coming this evening, and for Graham Mitchell, who will both be giving some remarks today and also be taking some questions. Thank you very much to them for their time. Thank you also to our guests who are here this evening. You're obviously very welcome to attend the meeting in person. If you'd like to join by virtual link, please do ask committee questions of the committee if you'd like to. Obviously, they do need to be relevant to our agenda, otherwise I may not be able to help you. Questions should not be a statement nor in several parts, and it would be appreciated to be kept short to maximum questions. There is no right to reply. There are no requests for the Zoom link, so just us for this evening. I think that is all we need to say there, right? Lovely. Thank you everyone to the committee as well, as always. We've done our part preparing everything for this evening. Alice is on Zoom today, so she will be providing her. Lovely. We're off. If we have any public questions. Public questions. Any public questions?
I'm working on it.
I can read the blurb if you'd like to. Do state your name. They are required to confirm whether they live in East Grinstead. So far.
No, not tonight.
Not tonight. No, lovely. Good. For absence or substitutions. If there are any, please note to accept the apologies. I think we are.
I've not had any apologies.
We have not had any apologies. It's
Councillor Bevis is en route.
he's en route. Do we have a substitute for Councillor Scott?
No.
No. Then I assume you have to have a vote, do you not?
Only if you wish to accept apologies. I haven't had apologies given to me from the
So we can't vote on that, so we continue as we are. Yeah. Lovely, perfect. To receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 7th of March and 13th of March. Hopefully you've all got them in front of you. If not, they'll be emailed out. Any thoughts or thoughts? Otherwise, I will accept those as accurate. By vote, please.
Yeah, you need to propose them first, Chair.
Oh, I need to propose them. I propose the minutes for the 7th of March.
And I'd like to second it.
Lovely. And then the 13th of May? I propose those. You second them?
Yeah, both of those.
Perfect.
I think everyone's happy.
Is everybody happy?
Good.
Agreed. Lovely.
Half and
We're freestyling a little bit with that procedural aspect this evening. Be better for the second
Well,
one.
that one is fine. Not really sure. Go on the machine to get to the next page.
Mhm.
That's the same, Chair.
Lovely. Thank you. Chairman's update. The COB will be offering free English language lessons during June and July, starting from the 13th of June, so next week, I think that is. And we'll run for 4 sessions, meeting every other week between 10:30 and 12:30 in the library. Sessions are also taking place in Haywards Heath and Burgess Hill, and the Town Council will be helping to publicise these. Eastport and Glendale. The Town Council have reported a number of defects on Eastport with a new green spaces contractor for Mid Sussex District Council, including the broken flagstone on the Jubilee Path, overflowing rubbish and the dog poo bins. That's noted. Dementia Week. The Town Council Forget-Me-Nots were displayed on Sackville College sloping lawn for the week alongside other events, including Memory Cafe and the pop-up lounge, which was very well attended. We happened to be there for the gazebo day for Town Council. There were lots of people there, so that was good to see. Several of the partners for East Grinstead were included. East Grinstead Community Support Group. Julian from the Food Bank is pushing forward with the initiative to include meal vouchers up to a value of £12. The details are yet to still be agreed. They're also looking to work with Turning Tides and will be providing flyers and information sheets. This initiative continues forward. The Town Council is part of the group and supporting promotions and support. Lovely. Now on to the body of the agenda as stands this evening. Do we have any members' declarations of interest?
Thank you, Chairman. I'll declare an interest on item 9 as a member of Mid Sussex District Council.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, so quick. Thank you.
Lovely. Right, over to you, Inspector Derek, then. Thank you again for your time.
That's okay, thank you, Alan. It's nice to be here, and I know you do it by dialing, but I'll do my best to come with an interview, and I will continue that. I've written some notes down of some things we've done in East Grinstead in the last few months. But I think what's really important for me to say, everything you've done, I just walked through the town centre half an hour ago with my jacket, just to see what it's like and to walk around. And I saw a firearms unit go past. So what we've done in the last 12 months since I ran the neighbourhood police department is we've got other departments to help us assist with East Grinstead, because my brief for the 3 teams that I run are, we have to try harder with East Grinstead. And I don't apologise to Hayley or the reason why I say this is because we're in Hayley, that's where we live, and Burgess lives on my doorstep. So my advice to them is 2 things generally. Firstly, we try harder with East Grinstead. And secondly, when Julie Holden calls, we will say yes. So that's quite well for us in the last 13 months. I hope it continues. My relationship with the council and Julie is very good. But just to give you an update of some departments that have been working in this town in this last 4 weeks, to give you a flavour of some of the jobs, to give you a flavour of what we do in town. We use firearms units to do directed patrol activity in the town, because in Sussex we have a firearms unit, we have a firearms unit sat on the east of the county, west of the county, and the central of the county. And they usually just sit still waiting for firearms. Which is what we can do is direct them to do things for us. So in the last few months, we direct them to look at the things that Julie's pointed out to us in the city, and they come and park their cars there. And actually, as I walk through the town, I saw one of them. We use special enforcement units in the city at night time. I can't go into too much detail. We have 2 prolific drug dealers in the town that are of interest to us. One is very near your Sainsbury's, I'm told. One is in Hopthorne. And the special enforcement units have been targeting them in the last 7 weeks. They're also in the town at night time. Because whilst I manage neighbourhood policing units, they start at 7 in the morning and they finish at 11. Activity, of course, is 24/7. So the message of what I'm giving you is, I'm using every unit available to me 24 hours a day to target issues in the town. On top of that, we've had domestic abuse specialists and constables from our victim units, because you've got quite a few domestic abuse victims in the town. Things that you won't ordinarily see, and sometimes quite silent policing. So there'll be detectives in the town in plain clothes going visiting these people. And then on top of that, of course, you've got my units in the town in the daytime and the evenings, neighbourhood policing, addressing any issue that's raised to us. And then our divisional response teams, which do 24/7 emergency policing. So that's 5 separate managed departments that are in the towns quite a lot in the town. I would say all 5 of those departments. And to give you a flavour of some of the things they're looking at, we had lots and lots of calls within one day. dozens of stolen bike in the town. It was causing
Mm,
nuisance to people in Reading.
Mhm.
And I deployed an NPT team to go and find the bike. I had a piece of Mexican family in a criminal's garden, and I said, "What do you do?" And they said, "Well, they had down at the house, and they left." So I sent cops back, and then they come back and they said, "We didn't have any house to enter." And then I sent them back again for the third time. So go and do some old fashioned policing and not with conversation and see what they say. And that led to us getting the bike and stopping the ASB in the town. That's quite common for all three towns we do. Antisocial behaviour remains an issue here, and we work really well, I'm told, with the atrium manager, who's highlighted lots of issues to us regarding criminal damage, antisocial behaviour and theft. And we detected lots of crime she sent to us, so she's really good. I'm saying she, because if you told me about she's a she. So she's very good at identifying suspects to us and hunting them down and detecting those crimes. We've worked with our partners in the council, and whilst this is not largely a police issue, you're probably aware that about 3 to 6 of your premises in East Grinstead were recently occupied by Afghan refugees. That caused a little bit of online traffic for us, and policing stood kind of back in the shadows because I was quite clear that wasn't a police issue, it was a council issue. And it was up to the council to decide whether they put refugees. And our issue with them was making sure they weren't victims of hate crime. But touch wood, that's not raised its head to us whatsoever, so it's settled. And for your note, they are, one of them is a lawyer, one is a midwife, and it's got a professional, I don't think they're professional, so yes, so we're using firearms officers to drive to the city to make us feel safe. We've looked at ASB in all areas that Julie raised with, and as well as, have you got a bowls green in town? My NPT teams tell me gangs gather, it's not being used, and they've addressed ASB within there. And on top of that, there are, as well as 2 targeted drug dealers in the town that were targeting during the night, plain clothes and uniform clothes. There's quite a bit of domestic abuse victims within the town, and we're working closely with our colleagues at CID and making sure they're supported as well. So whilst I just stand and do the neighbourhood policing and address lots of the issues that are overt, I suppose my message to you is there's lots of covert and things going on in it that we don't actually see. And that's really, I just started digging today and said, what we doing for the last 4 weeks? And this is what I found out just from last conversations with several of my colleagues, and that's 5 major departments. Was really interested to hear the special enforcement unit message back to me about the 2 drug dealers in the town, because they're really well connected with the gangs in Crawley. And when I spoke to my colleague in SCU, I was really clear that I wanted any activity in Grinstead to stand on immediately. And I'm told they moved here because accommodation called not have a choice. So we're expecting them to go back, which is good news for me. So that's just to give a flavour of what's going on in the town. Like I said at the start, our relationship with the town clerk is really good. I never say no. I make sure my teams never say no. In large, what I have at any one point in the day, and this is not about those of my teams, I have 1 sergeant, 1 PC, and about 6 PCSOs that deal with neighbourhood issues on earlies and the same on lates. So we're not talking about massive amounts of numbers, but there's other teams to support our efforts here in East Grinstead as well. So we're definitely involved. I hope really involved from us. Actually, I've been here, continues to do so. The inspector. I'm happy to take any questions you've got.
Thank you. That was brilliantly detailed, and I think we're all reassured by your presence here, particularly. Obviously, there's a lot going on. Could I ask if any colleagues have any questions? Yes, please.
You have an office station attached to Checker Mead. What are the plans? Is this going to be reopened, or is this going to?
Yeah, the buildings issue of police premises is a matter of PCC and the Chief Council. They decide these buildings are
Okay.
where they're situated. We do have footprint here, so we can come and work in an office here. It's
Yeah.
used all day today.
Right.
There's a team of 6 in there all day today. The PCS will come over here, use it.
So is it open to the public to, if they have a problem to go in there?
I don't think so. I'm told there's a yellow phone there for you to report issues to us. I mean, my advice to you as councillors, I tell my uniformed police officers and PCSOs, if a councillor comes to you, you do not say, you take their issue from you because the councillors are elected people speaking of our communities that taxes. So if you need access to email, you can email me or text me or call me, and Julie will give you my details. And councillors should feel reassured that they can come to me in person and address any issue. So I would never say to the council officials, call the police, email me, call my mobile.
Yes, I understand that, and I thank you very much.
But public buildings,
Yes.
where the public, I don't think that's allowed.
Yeah, it was people particularly with domestic abuse,
Yeah.
whether they got somewhere that they could actually go in and talk rather than dial 999 or whatever.
Yeah,
I just felt that it would be, if you're saying that's an increasing problem, you know, it would be nice if there was someone that they could actually go and report it and talk to.
yeah. As in the front office and the front
Yeah.
place. That's matter of the PCC and I paid rate. And I looked at the police station, it was open 24/7. The light was signing in the hallway. I noticed when I come in, your reception is open from 9 to 1,
Yeah.
Monday to Thursday. And the current government halved the policing budget over 10 years. And 80% of the policing budget is wages. So if you halve a budget and 80% of wages,
Yeah, I understand.
then staff and buildings have to go. But to compensate, I make sure the premises that we do use, that there are cops here every day, daytime and late. And if anyone went to that, to phone us, my
Thank you for that.
Lovely. Down there, I think you had a question.
Thank you, Chair, that's very kind. First, I must say that I've been in contact with Inspector Derrick and Sergeant Wilson as well, quite regularly, probably to the point where Inspector Derrick goes, I'll see, another email. So thank you very much. And Doug both respond very quickly and it gets to the point. Got a couple of things. As you know, there's been a state of cycle thefts, brazen, grinders going through lots of things like that. One particular example of that was November. There was CCTV. There's all sorts of footage that we can get hold of. And my point is, who controls those CCTV cameras? And the council. I don't know. Sorry.
It's very complicated. The CCTV cameras in the town are Mid Sussex, they're owned by Mid Sussex District Council. They were bought by the East Grinstead Town Council and the traders, with the exception of some which were bought by Mid Sussex District Council. This is why I say it's complicated. They used to be monitored by the police. They're not anymore, but Mid Sussex District Council have access to all of the recordings. So any application for evidence to be pulled from that to be forwarded on to police has now got to be made to Mid Sussex District Council.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Regarding the bike,
Yes.
my instruction to Doug was to start and run a covert police operation involving a trap bike. He's looking into that, which involves, I can't give you too much of our details, which involves a tracker, and he's just working out the complexities of the trap bike and the tracker, because we did it quite commonly about 5 to 10 years ago, especially in Brighton, and we started losing prosecution cases of it because the police were too careful. on what they were doing in covert activities, which is really stringently governed by the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act. He's looking into that. We've got some high-value seized bikes that don't belong to people. So our intention is to put an electric bike and loosely chained up with an Apple tracker in it. The problems are with this. That is only beneficial if you can have the resources behind it for when it starts moving to start chasing it. And I can tell you now, covert operations is an extremely expensive business, which usually saved for organised high-level crime groups. But you can do something low key. We can pitch our lock. We don't really care if the bike doesn't come back stolen. We can pitch our lock, and if it moves, we can respond to it really quickly. And usually they move it to our address. And that anyway, it just gives us intelligence. My colleagues tell me they know who's doing it.
Yeah.
They've named the person, remember the name of the person, and they know to it, and they intend to put it in his path.
Yeah, okay.
So it's on his agenda.
Cheers, and thank you for everything you do.
No, just one thing.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Inspector Derek. Great report. We've got Graham Russell from the Chief Executive of the Business Association. And they're obviously involved in retailers and the DISC system that was launched, I believe, about 18 months ago, but also PubWatch. So I don't know if you've got any comments that, you know, in relation to any sort of feedback on that particular area.
No, I'm told the DISC is really good and it's been well used. I'm not an expert. And of course, PubWatch has been going for 28 years, and it's been going for 20 of those years. Just like daytime, what do you call it? Store detectives, shop watch. We are involved with it, especially in the fighting groups. My experience tells me if there's a fighting involved, the landlord picks up the phone, dials 999. It's a lot faster than watch. But of course, we support it and we support our colleagues involved in it. And especially DISC, and I'm told by my colleagues in the department that run DISC is the uptake of it has been good.
The uptake is good. I think really the important thing for us is it's only part of it.
Yeah.
One condition like it was the solution, but we're seeing a lot more of it.
It's just, yeah. And you can.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to raise one point about the Birches estate, which is it's got a PSPO on it, but of course it's prone to so we call it joyriding or meets where you get you know, sort of cars racing around, a lot of noise. So I got the residents at one of the trusses at the back there obviously reporting it, but it's really the sort of the speed of the response in terms of what can be done about that, because they're gone before anybody arrives.
Yeah, it's subject to an operation we're running Downsway, which deals with antisocial behaviour on public roads. We do things like we call them plastic policemen. We put not cops. We put things with detectors pointing at things, and people think it's someone. It's just deterrent. And we set up operations where it's quite prolific. It's much, well, I don't want to say it, but it's much worse than the areas surrounding them. But my advice to anyone with antisocial behaviour on the roads is it's serious to us. And if you can see a car doing donuts, we haven't experienced with several months ago with your own train station car and they're doing donuts in there. And all we did car police car and that stopped it. Because I mean that was British Transport Police problem anyway. It doesn't help me saying that. So just, you know. But I think if anyone sees any ASB driving on roads, and let's be clear what bad driving on roads is and what it could be. Bad driving is always only a small accident away from being causing death by dangerous driving, which is life imprisonment. You know, that's all it is. It's only someone's log. If you see it, go to 999, so we'll address it straight away. If you want to feed that to Julie, any particular site you want us to look at, the site you're mentioning, I don't know if Downsway is looking at it, but what I can do is give it to Operation Down. You can say that up. So that means.
I know it's been a continuing problem, but it was there's obviously the response to the PSPO. But it just seems that it can't effectively be, it can't be enforced effectively.
Yeah,
Because of the response time associated.
it's hard to do. When we touched on, they're given, we use a really powerful, act, it's section 59 of the Road Traffic Act, where we, serve a document on them, saying if they're caught again, doing ASB, even in that car, or another, you see, and keep the car.
Yeah.
They really don't like that. It's used quite a lot. But it's one of several operations, and we do address it.
Thank you, councillor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Inspector, for coming in person. Hugely appreciate it. Thank you for all the work you do and the whole of your team across the whole of Mid Sussex. We know it's a very, very difficult task, especially given the increased difficult circumstances. You know, fantastic. You've got historically a great relationship with this town council and the town clerk, which we're hugely appreciative of. And in my 13 years as councillor, that's probably the best way. It is the best police report that I've been at this table. So thank you so much.
Thank you. My brief is when we're sent to political meetings to all commanders is we don't stay past our presentation. Which doesn't mean I don't want to stay. It's because politics is for policing and we have to leave it in your space to do politics.
Thank you again. On to item 6, which is Graham Russell, who's obviously had a brief introduction there. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the East Grinstead Business Association. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'd love to hear what you'd like to share with us, and obviously you two will face some questions from the committee.
Small correction, is the chair of the East Grinstead Business
Chair,
Association. My predecessor was the chief executive.
I'm so sorry. Chair. Noted and corrected. Lovely. Oh, it's all, yeah.
I've got a one paper for you. So just to give you a little bit of background, so some of you will have come across Chambers of Commerce, which is something that's been around for decades now. And I think a lot of people felt you might have to share one of them.
I've got some more here. Manu, I've got more.
It was better than some of the Chambers of Commerce were getting a little bit stuffy. So it was almost like using a different name to try and revitalise representation of businesses. And I think East Grinstead has gone through that transition over the years, with the Business Association being around for about 16 or 17 years now. Been very effective. I joined 2.5 years ago on the committee, took over as chair in February of 23, so I'm well into my second year now. So what I took over was something that a good growth in membership, was doing some great things, but I felt it had another level to go to. And with largely the same team, I think we've achieved a great deal over this last 12 months just by getting very focused. So really, what I see is going through an evolution to be a more active and effective stakeholder in the East Grinstead business community and in the town itself. So I think community is everything. So if everyone pulls together, doing their bit, I think it's a real force for good, and that's the way I see things. So partnerships are really important to me. That's been tested in the District Council recently, but I'll come on to that later. But I do see things, where possible as forming partnerships with different organisations, from the police to the councils to various other bodies. So over the past 12 months, we started off, thought a good place to start would be to set up some focus groups. So leaders of business around the town came along to, we had 4 focus groups, very well attended, high level of interest. So a lot of those people that didn't attend networking events came along to these, they wanted their voice to be heard. So that was a great start. And as a result of that, over the next 12 months, we're refocusing the limited resources that we do have to tackle things that are important. You know, so we don't decide what's important. They, you know, we facilitate them telling us what they see as important. We've increased the quality of events over the last 12 months. We've had some terrific events. I think Rex, you bear this out. You know, some great iconic locations like Ashdown Park and at Kingscote and various other places, very well attended. You know, we've been getting regularly 30, 40 people, which is really our maximum for most of these events. But again, we want to further improve those, increase the varieties, for example, have breakfast meetings, lunch meetings, all that sort of thing, as well as the normal networking meeting in the evening. Some of them may be more overt networking as well. Most of our members tell us that they're like, we're an organisation, we're not, you know, you're not speed dating all the time, but there may be scope for that. So, you know, we've got to keep our minds open to those additional sort of events. So we've increased, we think we're increasing the influence with the councils and police authorities. And basically we want a seat at the table in council-led initiatives. So we talk about the shared space piece, what was erroneously called pedestrianisation at one time. We're very keen on a vision for the town. And that in the focus groups, it became very clear that there is a lot of passion around for developing the town to another level. And Rex has seen this. We've had a bundle of stuff from the Martel family. And there's articles going back to 1982 on this very topic. So love to see this move forward. And clearly, it's about getting the stakeholders interested and activate. You know, the likes of West Sussex, obviously there are highways, County Council, but just get the stakeholders around the table, get that level of energy going, because you know, we think there's a lot that can be achieved. Interestingly, a lot of what we did get was we're a market town. Can we do something, at least if it's just once a month or something like that? Can we just get something that gives us that sort of feel? That was a very, very powerful message that came back as part of the focus groups. We've been busy developing a new website, which launches next week. So that's got lots of new content on it, which will help us out shop window. We've raised several £1,000 in the last 12 months for the Greenway Foundation, and we're looking to double that next 12 months. And we've continued to recruit new members, lots of new members, but we want to make sure we get to 20% net new because some drop off. We need to continually build that sort of membership. So the next slide that you see there is my focus now is to build the membership, because if we don't build the membership, we won't have the resources to do all the things that we want to do. Because a lot of it is around the time to do these things. We have one paid business manager who only works 6 days a week. My time is on a voluntary basis, and so is the rest of the committee. So there's a lot of hard work goes into it, but we could do with more resources. And that's really why I want to build the business association, so we can do more. I mean, for example, if you take the whole parking piece, 5,200 signatures in a week, that was a massive mobilisation by the business association. But I'd like to be in a position to do more earlier on that whole piece. And I think with resources, we can do that. But the centerpiece for me is the representation of our members. The events are great. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not renewing because I don't go to the events. And I go, well, forget that. We don't need you to go to the events. Terry at David Foreman Carpets would say, I don't want to go to any of the events, but of course I need to pay my membership. You guys are going to look after me. That's the sort of, that's really what the position we want to get into, whereby they look towards us to represent them in all the, the different forums. But events are important as well. We have an EGBA business directory. Some of our members say, well, we'll pay them and just to get a directory entry. And it is worth £120 for sure. We're starting to develop resources now, so advisory help. So there'll be numerous topics whereby the members provide services to each other. Some of it free of charge can be upgraded into a paid service. That'd be a very much website. But in terms of that vision, creating East Grinstead is a great place to be and to work and to invest in business. That's really what is at the centre of this. So we have our links with the schools and universities, like to Brighton. So again, we're very active in all of these areas, but in order to do that, we need the resources. Hence, we want to build a membership, continue to build a membership. I touched on the whole parking thing. There was a bit of a disappointment, I'd say, in terms of our relationship with Mid Sussex District Council. They do partly fund us to a small extent. We do have quarterly meetings with them, and I do actually value their economic development area. But I was horrified with what happened without any consultation to the business associations at all. So that relationship for me will change. It will, for a short period of time, become a little bit more adversarial because we will stand our ground. I don't think they would have even gone for the 3 week. I know this is on the agenda later. I don't think they even would have gone for the 3 week consultation had they not. But they're not responding to the petition. But they had ample opportunity to talk to us as a business association. We were eventually invited to meet the consultants, the parking consultant they used. I was a consultancy, I've got 2 consultants based up in London. I was not impressed with what I saw. All their data is out, it's all out of date. They compare East Grinstead to Bedford and Horsham, which is ridiculous as a town. They accuse us of anecdote in terms of the impact.
Graham, I think I'm going to have to ask you to move on from this point because unfortunately we are in the purdah position now, and this is a controversial matter. So I think we need to not go into too much detail.
Okay, that's fine. So I guess the point I make is we do need to make sure we have the relationship with the district council that is a productive relationship in terms of representing East Grinstead. On the other side, on the final slide, I've just said all the things that we can pass in, and we will continue to kind of get deeper into all of those pieces. And I do respect the relationship that we have with the town council, and we want to further develop that, as we, of course, we do with the district council and the county council as well. That's very much an important part of our being and how we achieve results for our businesses. So that's just an overview of where we've come from, where we're going. Be interested to take any questions.
Okay. Probably worth noting that we have got the car parking one as an agenda item a little bit later on, so we will revisit that. Also worth just repeating the previous comments that we have some restrictions because of just ever so slightly. I'm hugely grateful for the update. I think we are all very sensitive to that issue, and it is obviously very alive. On that note, any questions, everybody?
That's a huge. I have 2 questions.
Lovely.
If that's okay. So my first question, Graham, was I guess how big do you think the association can be? So if it's a business association, what percentage of members do you currently have?
Yeah.
And what are you striving for?
So we're about 110 members at the moment. I'd like to see us at about 250. Obviously, that will take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But I really can see why businesses aren't members, and we can do that much more with that increase membership. So we will be going on, a bit of a drive to take on new members. But it's really important that we're very clear about what we're offering to them.
And my second question was, so it's great that you're doing focus groups and you got some real qualitative input. And I love the fact that, we talk about the market town. I guess, how can we work together better through shared spaces or anywhere else to move from, I guess, the high street that, when you got to read on social media, everyone thinks is tired, full of empty shops, full of coffee shops. So it's quite a big shift. I guess what can we collaborate even more so to start that movement?
I do think it is about creating that vision for it's getting some really strong minds around the table and not accepting that it has to be as it is. The high street is changing massively. We have to accept, we've planned through a lot of articles and books on that topic, and I think we've gone past that point where we're going to save the retail world as we knew it. So I think it's about having an open mind about adapting, and I think the shared space project, for example, shouldn't limit itself just to whether or not we've got a bit of brick pavement or a bit of whatever. It's like we've got to think about the whole piece. And also, parking, how that fits in as well. How the vitality of the town depends on the ability to attract people and to do that effect.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's getting some minds around the table and being very positive about what we can achieve.
That's Councillor Burton.
I was going to ask a very similar question.
Oh, very good. There we go.
But thank you very much for the comments. I think we've done with respect to the position, which I was very pleased to sign, as I know there were a number of us around pleased to sign. We will come back to the election, I'm sure. But just residents, again, there's concerns regarding the empty shops. I know you were saying about vision and having a strong voices around saying, I get that. Is there anything? I'm getting people asking what they can do to help. But just, is there anything in the short term we could be looking at? Do you think that we're not already, or things like generate roles that you would like to see us doing? Just, I think I'm just concerned that we come over as sort of sitting back and waiting for things to happen. And just agree. I want to be sure that we are on the front foot as much as we can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned pop-ups because that came up quite a lot. Being nimble, being if locations close down, the ability to kind of in the short term have pop-ups in there. So what is it that would allow? We need to really kind of feel about that, because in terms of who owns the buildings, how do we get them to that space in the short term?
You'll be happy to work with.
Absolutely.
Because I just think sometimes beyond just the council having the business association's name to it, it's just might add extra impetus and.
Yeah, you see, I have a very strong feeling what we can do is by having a blueprint and a vision for the town, you almost say what you'd like the town to look like. It's simple things like, agree or disagree. We don't, in terms of hospitality, we don't have a decent Chinese restaurant, for example. Oh, would we, if we had something like that, let's go and find it.
Okay.
Right? Rather than wait for it to land, and if we're not careful, it ends up being another Mediterranean Turkish type. Because there's an interest in those guys and great respect for investing in this town. But it's a lot of the same. We have a vision of what we want to see in the town. How many accountants, how many business advisors, how many, we can then start to go and try and find the retail stores, you can find these retail, you can find, restoke the interest from a Coke brasserie or whatever. Let's go talk to them. Let's go tell them about the town. Because I think it's a great, I do think it's the already. And it's a shame, that I think we must be the only town in the country that's losing the grapes rather than gaining. So for whatever reason, it's just such a pity that Clark's are moving out and Jodo's have moved out. So I think by having a strong vision of what we want to see and what we want the town to look like, we can actually influence it by going to talk to some of these organisations that we might want in the town.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Graham. Do you have any thoughts on Gatwick Airport? Obviously, later this year, probably there'll be a decision on the second runway, which is in public examination at the moment. Just wondering if you'd had any thoughts about the threats and opportunities about that decision either way.
I think it's all opportunity. And I think the threats need to be managed. And I think if it doesn't happen around here, it will happen somewhere else. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for East Grinstead, for sure. And I know there are other views as well that exist. So, and I do respect those, and I respect why people have those views, but I think it will be a fantastic thing to see.
Thank you.
Councillor Barnett.
Yes, I mean, you were talking earlier about the change in this town, as in any other town, with shops moving out, shops closing their branches, all the rest of it. What contact do you have, relationships do you have with your sister organisations in other towns, where they might have had some success in dealing with that problem and confronting it and making a change to the extent they can? So, because obviously you have to reinvent the wheel every time.
No. I think retail is continuing to evolve.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. And we're all guilty to a certain extent of using Amazon as much as we do. But I think there's an inevitability about that. There are lots of examples of your real hard on the shop local idea. I think gaining sort of really revitalising the pride in the town, I think is a really important part of that. But that side, retail will continue to struggle. I think we've gone past that point, I'm afraid. I think it has its place. The independents can continue to do reasonably well, but Nick and Tree Frog will tell you works twice as hard for half as much. It's very, very good. I think where we can continue to make a lot of progress in terms of creating the destination is the hospitality sector. You go to Oxted, there's some real thinking into the type of restaurants and bars and whatever. That's the vision that I'm talking about. And to run that throughout the whole day. It's not just evening restaurant. So I think there's a lot that can be done in that respect. I don't think as a destination, it's not where it needs to be, I'm afraid. People will talk about going to Oxted and going to various other places. And then that hurts a little bit.
Well, hopefully our wonderful shared spaces working group will crack that. Councillor Gibson, thank you.
Yeah, just three thoughts, if I can. The first is that the extent to which the digitally excluded a business opportunity. The people who are still using cash, what is it that they want to buy? What is it that they would want to bring into in order to attract them in? The second point is that think we should think about transport rather than parking.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, sort of, you hear about bus services in West Hoathly being cut, and things like that. And I think that we've seen things that the county council have been doing with Dynamite down in the west, the far western side of the county. What chances do we have to bring that here? And we had an interesting discussion last night at Turners Hill Parish Council. We had Tully's Farming, one of the most vibrant businesses in the entire area, very innovative. And they were saying that they'd been shocked just by how popular the tulips had been. And quite literally, the roads were blocked with Chinese and Indian people wandering around because simply the transport system had not been put in place to deliver the number that wanted to come down and see it.
Yeah.
But there was a knock-on effect. So, for instance, Tirana had an absolutely fantastic thing. And to what extent is that sort of thing an opportunity where you get this read across that one business's, sort of ideas can actually be exploited by others, in that way. And I know that's sort of hospitality thing. There was a lot of bed and breakfast that was picked up from that as well.
Yeah.
So that was, sort of very successful.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that Kingscote have just cancelled the carnival. Things like that just brings people to the town. Maybe it's not priced in the right way. I don't know. But yeah, I think anything like that can really, get the likes of Bluebell, Kingscote, the town working together. I think there's, I was having a discussion with Kingscote last week, and they really struggled to get Bluebell to kind of liaise and speak with them. And to me, it's just like fantastic, that sort of facility, really. But no, I totally agree in terms of innovative ways of getting people to visit. I just finished. I had some friends from, I used to work for Ford in Essex, and I had some friends over from Essex last year. And they came across this area almost by accident, and they ended up doing Kingscote. They did Bluebell and they did Cripple, and they said, "Wow, this is just fantastic." But we're not showing it. So what do we do to really get that message out there, and get people visiting more and create the destination side of it?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Graham, on behalf of the committee and town council, thank you so much for coming in. I think it's fair to say in your year and a bit that the EGBA, you've been transformational. I know how hard you work and the importance you put on relationships and building individual relationships. I've seen that virtually every day. So thank you for that. Good luck in building the EGBA, and we look forward to working with you on the Shared Services Working Group very, very soon, and reporting further at this committee and full council. So thanks very much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Entirely up to you. You're very welcome.
You don't mind, I'll stick around.
Of course, we'd love that. We are over to Alice, who is on Zoom next for our community team report. Alice, are you there? There you are.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So I'll just start by saying that, just following on from what Graham was saying, that I've had various meetings with District's economic development team about the empty shop units and what can be done. And it was very much pushed back onto me, onto what are we doing and perhaps I should be contacting the letting agents, which I did actually try last year, to try and see if we can get window vinyls in to make the shop fronts look a bit better rather than looking so derelict, but that never really got off the ground. They've now agreed today that actually they are going to contact the letting agents and see what the barriers are to the spaces getting filled. So that will be very interesting, and I will be following up with them on that. And also we have been updating our Visit East Grinstead website with a shop, accommodation and eateries directory, and we're getting a lot more hits on that as well, and I think people are finding it useful who aren't local to the area, to see what shops, find out what shops are available online before they travel here. So hopefully that is helping some way, and we'll carry on working on that as well. So back to my agenda then. What have I put on here? Oh, so youth club. I won't take too long because I know we're a bit short of time, so I'll just rush through my key points, and if anyone's got any questions, just let me know. So great news on the youth club. We have employed a youth worker and a youth coordinator, which is fantastic, and so we're going to be spending, well, they're going to be spending the summer sorting out the parent volunteers, DBSs, safeguarding policies, risk assessments, programme of activities and everything, communicating, liaising with the community and with the schools, getting everything ready for us to start the youth club in September. So that's fantastic, and we look forward to getting on with that, and I'll report back in the next committee on that as well. DISC was briefly mentioned earlier. It is being used in East Grinstead, not as much as it is in Haywards Heath and Burgess Hill. So I just wanted to remind people to carry on using that, and to report anything through DISC. I have been speaking to people who've been using it, and it has had successful outcomes. We just need to make sure it's all reported through there, and I've just put some stats on there in the agenda as well that you can have a look through in your own time. SID updates. This has been a bit ongoing, but the 28-day public order notice went up on the 1st of June. So once that's done, and if there's no issues, we can continue and install the temporary sockets at the 6 chosen locations, and then the poles will be inserted when the SID is at those locations. So that is booked in to happen hopefully early July, once the 28 days notice is done, and I'll keep you updated on that as well. Sunnyside Barn, just put in a quick little update here. Bookings are going well, but please keep spreading the word, as we're not anywhere near at capacity, but as such a new venue, it is going well. Sunnyside community residents are really making the most of it. We've had lots of birthday party bookings, and the word is spreading, so it's getting out there, which is great. We have a dedicated Sunnyside bookings email address as well, if anyone has any inquiries, and all the venue details are on the Town Council website. Farmers Market, we're averaging 6 to 7 stalls per week, which is pretty good, and about the maximum space we've got on the market square. We've got fish, cheese, coffee, bakery, falafel, honey, and we've got a new flower stall for this summer as well. So yeah, it's there on a Thursday. I know people want it on a Saturday, but the license is for a Thursday. That's how it is at the moment, but maybe that's something that we can discuss if people want to in future, how that could expand somehow. Community desk and tourism desk inquiries. Yep, we've been busy as always, which is great at the library. We have moved desks now, so when you come into the main door of the library, instead of turning right, you turn left. We are still waiting for some signage, so not everyone is finding us at the moment, so it's a bit quieter than normal, but I'm sure people will find us. I think, I have whizzed through quickly. I think that is everything. If anyone's got any questions, thank you.
Thanks, Alice. That was lovely and very useful. Thank you for the update on the youth club in particular. I'm sure we're all equally thrilled that that is obviously a great success, and moving absolutely in the right direction to appeal to as many people as we can. And I will revisit you on the farmers market one. That sounds lovely. Anybody else with a question or a comment? Councillor Whitaker.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Alice. Great report. Couple of things which I think you missed off. The East Court Live event, which was on Sunday, which was the first one of the season, looked spectacular. So thank you to you and the team and everybody involved with that. And tomorrow, obviously, we've got the D-Day 80th commemoration at Kingsfield. So hopefully the weather forecast this week is pretty good. So that'll be another excellent event put on by the Town Council.
Thank you very much, Councillor Whitaker. All of my events are reported to Amenities and Tourism Committee. But yeah, absolutely. D-Day tomorrow, everyone. Thank you.
We get a flag in for this committee.
Right. Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Gibson.
Could we just have details of the location of the socketed posts where the city is going to turn up? Not necessarily now, but maybe we could have it just in the minutes if it's.
You have had them in the previous meetings.
Have we?
Yes, they did. I will put them back into the minutes for you, but they have all been in your previous reports.
I do know that for the more forgetful monsters to remind you exactly.
Yeah, it was in the agenda for the last Public Services Committee.
Right.
Lovely. Any more for any more? Perfect. In which case, we shall move on to the last two items, which is delegated decisions and car parking charges, which are ever so slightly linked. So forgive me, I'm going to read a little bit and then we will obviously have a chance for much discussion and comment. So do bear with me. So delegated decisions, we have just the one. After the last Public Services meeting, residents started commenting on the proposed Mid Sussex District Council car parking charge changes. This was discussed by the Chair and Vice Chair with the Clerk, and a delegated decision was made that the Town Council would be party to a petition. At the time, there was a casual vacancy for this council and the nominations were shortly to be announced. The Clerk advised that the petition had to be handed in by the date that the candidates were announced. This is just for noting, in which case we will move on to that. Councillor Barnett, we obviously have time for chatting in detail, if there's anything related to
No,
that.
it relates to the decision, not content.
Perfect.
The process of decision, not
Lovely.
Delegated decisions are meant to allow the council to do its normal business, put into play what it's already got as policy, and deal with things in an emergency. In neither of those boxes were ticked in this particular circumstance. The petition could have been conducted and was conducted under the aegis of the Business Association with exactly the same outcome that it has had, without this council being the signatory. There was no requirement for the council to be a signatory for that to go ahead. So it was not emergency in that sense. And it was not following on from the policy of this council. In fact, it was going against, shall we say, the budget of one of the other tiers that had been decided sort of shortly before. So I think as a decision, it was something that I think is very, very disappointing to see an abuse, in my view, of delegated decision power. And I would like to see that when the delegated decision powers are reviewed this summer, that we make far clearer what things should and shouldn't be allowed. It was, I say, in my view, entirely inappropriate. I know the town part differs. We've discussed it, but yes.
Let me pass it around. Does Councillor Whitaker want to?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I fully understand and accept Councillor Barnett's views, which he's expressed to me consistently since the decision came about and was taken. The decision came about with actually 4 people in this room, which is Graham from the East Grinstead Business Association, myself then as chair of this committee, which is its remit in third-party stakeholder organisations, of which Mid Sussex District Council is one, as you will be aware. My vice chair at the time, who's now chair, Councillor Reeves, and not least the town clerk. It wasn't an emergency, but it was a contingent, in my view, at the time when the decision went up. All I did was to listen and work with the East Grinstead Business Association, who were not pleased at the situation. And I'm mindful of what the town clerk has already said this evening, looking at that. But there were very strong views, and it came back very quickly. I felt it was a contingent situation, not an emergency, but a contingent situation. Contingent, given the abnormal situation of the by-elections that were called in this parish and also in Burgess Hill, which provided a sort of catch-22 in terms of time. There was a very, very small window of time to do something or not to do anything at all. I made a decision with Graham Russell to approach the town clerk and the vice chair just to ask the question: could the town council be a co-signatory with the East Grinstead Business Association, working in partnership, as Graham has already said, which is very strong for the EGPA and other organisations? So, in good faith, I approached the town clerk, and she's the boss, and I didn't press her at all. I just said, this is the situation. That decision was taken very quickly, I'll grant you. So I apologise for the speed of the decision making. But I personally felt, as a councillor on this council for 13 years, and held some senior situations, it was the right thing to do. I understand that we might have cut corners with standing orders and a few things, but I'm sure I'll hand over to the town clerk now. But it was done in good faith. It was done in support of the EGBA, done in support of the businesses in the town. And as chair, I made that request.
I will hand over to the clerk. I think it is worth saying that I was fully in support of that decision as well, and I think it is absolutely right that we did that as a person. I think it is for the clerk.
The only, I have no comment to make as to the actual decision itself. The decision-making process is the only thing I have a comment to make on, which is that there is no restriction in the current standing orders with regards to how that delegated decision can be used. So I do not accept the comment that it was an abuse of the power, because as far as I'm concerned, it was a power that was certainly within the gift of the clerk to make in consultation with the chairman and the vice chairman. It states that where a decision cannot be made because of timings, then as an urgency matters, that it can be made a delegated decision. If, however, this council feel that there needs to be some restriction on those delegated powers, as I've mentioned before to the councillor, then that is absolutely for the council to put in place. But as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing wrong with the actual decision making at the time. I appreciate the council disagrees. I appreciate that the councillors who were involved in the decision making did agree with the decision. But the actual process that was used, I stand by the current standing orders. There is absolutely no breach in there at all, and it was an appropriate use of the delegation. Councillor Murphy.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Town Clerk. That what's tonight is accusing that clerk of using the power in front of us. I think it's partly because he disagreed with the decision and wanted to respect that tonight. Sorry, but that comes across because I think the town clerk can be clearer, and I think we should just move on from that. We can discuss the actual decision, and I'm sure we will.
Absolutely, quite final one on this, I think.
Well, on this, I would just like it to be recorded that I wrote to the clerk on the 15th of March, setting out my views on this subject. It was copied to all councillors, so as you're all aware, I believe that this was not a good use of good governance.
We shall move on to agenda item 9, which is on, I guess, the substance of this, which is the car parking charges themselves. We've mentioned it a few times, but it seems prudent once more to mention that we are in Purden. So we will be mindful of that and avoid far too fruity a political discussion on this if we will. As such, I shall simply read to you the recommendations in the report, and then we will have a debate and discussion at the end. The recommendation in the report is that by the time the committee meets, the notice will have been received and circulated. The committee will have the consultation when it is released, referred to them for views, and a reply can be drawn. It may fall between committees and will follow the council's procedure for consultation via the consultation working group. At this time, the position is to be noted. However, the notice has not been issued as the general election has been called and Parliament is now dissolved. Mid Sussex District Councils are not allowed to consult on matters that may be controversial, as they could be used as part of the election. As a result, the committee are advised that this is an item to note tonight and not discuss in detail. Once the notice is issued, the clerk will circulate the consultation, and comments must be submitted to her or the consultation group for response to be made, which will then be circulated to the council before submission. It is unlikely that we will be able to call a meeting to discuss the consultation, however, if there are significant polarised views regarding the consultation, this will obviously quite rightly be considered. Unless anyone has anything that they wish to say, I'd like to note this item and move along so as not to contravene the NALC guidance regarding controversial matters during an election. I propose that we put this on the agenda for September, should the committee wish to discuss it. I think it is worth us all noting that Mid Sussex District Council may well have concluded the consultation in that time, and will, as they're doing, have determined their way forward. Can I ask that we note the position of the district council, district consultation, forgive me.
Noted.
I've got a little bit of a difficulty with your statement that it may have concluded its position by that time.
We don't think they will have done, you think?
I think that, so it's just that you cannot say that.
No, okay, I'll rephrase it, that there's a possibility they might have done.
Well, there's a possibility, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in which, if it's on the agenda for September anyway, that's fine. If it hasn't concluded, presumably, because that gives us more time to discuss.
Yes, I just felt that you were preempting the fact by the original statement.
Forgive me, that was perhaps just a slip of mine. Just a possibility that it'll be concluded by September. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, just a point of note. If between now and September, timings and circumstances do change on this subject, that there is the chance that a possibility that you could convene with the clerk committee's agreement an extraordinary public services committee meeting,
yes,
which might well be a useful option.
Very much agreed. Lovely, thank you. Perfect, lovely.
Any voting and noting?
We are note the position of the district. Forgive me. District consultation.
Yep.
Noted. Lovely. The toilet cleaning contract. We've had a change of direction, if you will. Here we go. So we've had an update actually to our to that which was I guess shared previous to the meeting. I am going to read out Simon Hughes in Sussex's update as of today, if you will. Forgive me, it is just an email, so bear with me once more. Hello, Julie, to the clerk. We received the list of councils interested in the contract on Friday. As I said at the meeting, once we knew who wished to be contacted, then the contractor would proceed. We have reconfirmed with the contractor that regardless of councils being in or out of contract, they are happy to take up cleaning of assets where required. The contractor will now contact those on the list to discuss further and agree with each parish or town council listed what their needs are. We will update other towns and parishes in the note of the meeting. I am advised by the estates team that King Street's toilets are included in the contract, but the East Court are not. I have asked if this was the case in the previous contract or if a variation was agreed at some date. In any case, these can still be picked up by the new contractor should they which further arrangements and conversations to be discussed. So good news, I think, clarity that they will be picked up. I don't know if anyone wants to offer any thoughts or comments on that.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, thank you, Town Clerk, for flagging this issue in the report that was issued obviously prior to this meeting. I did flag it with Councillor Marsh, District Councillor, who's the leader of the minority group there, and he said that he would raise it with Mr. Anderton, who's the portfolio holder, which obviously I assume has, and maybe others, maybe Councillor Gibson has done also. Excuse me. So the notes today, does that effectively mean that there is a new contractor, or I mean your report, Town Clerk, suggested that there was going to be a new contractor?
Yeah. We don't know who the contractor is in the cooling off period.
Right.
So there has been, the contract has been let, but we haven't, they're not able to tell us who the contractor is at this time.
Right.
What they have confirmed is, which was the concern, was that the King Street toilets are part of the contract as previously, but also that all of the other parishes who are operating toilets will be able to take advantage of this contract if they so wish. So yes, it has allayed the concern considerably.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I think one of the recommendations that we were going to write to the district council, but I suspect we will just continue to keep an eye on this. And no, I don't think we'll need to, because that's good all done. In which case, I shan't be asking for a process. In which case, I think, unless there's any further comments, we bring our meeting to a close. Time is 8:15. Thank you all very much.
Okay.